Some people play video games for the stories, some like challenges. Others enjoy solving puzzles or exploring new and strange worlds, or using games to pass the time while chatting with friends. And then there's the group who picks up the controller so that they can feel like unmitigated badasses with the power to destroy anything and everything they come across. For those gamers, the following bosses should be a treat. They're not hard or interesting, or, in some cases, even that fun. It doesn't matter. There's no better way to feel powerful than taking down some of the biggest, baddest enemies gaming has to offer with one blow. But don't take our word for it. Go on and see for yourself. 1. The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening Nightmare. The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening was the first Zelda game released after the Super Nintendo's series-defining entry, A Link to the Past. Despite the Game Boy's limited computing power and tiny monochrome screen, Link's Awakening sent players on an adventure every bit as epic and compelling as its 16-bit big brother, delivering thrills from the moment Link washed up on the shore of Koholint Island and progressing all the way to his showdown against Nightmare in the Windfish's Egg. 2. Mega Man 2: Metal Man. Poor Metal Man. According to Mega Man canon, Metal Man is the very first robot master that the villainous Dr. Wily built, and it's clear he hadn't yet worked out all the kinks. See, while all of Mega Man 2's robot masters have specific weaknesses, Metal Man is the only one dumb enough to carry around his own instrument of destruction. While you can play through Mega Man 2's levels in any order, you rarely want to. See, Mega Man revolves around a very simple gameplay loop: battle your way through a fortress, fight a robot, loot his or her metal corpse, and then use what you find against the next boss in the rotation. Most bosses are weak against one of their peers' weapons, and adding to your arsenal in the right order is key if you want to survive Mega Man 2's brutal boss battles. 3. Final Fantasy VI: The Phantom Train. That's not good for our heroes, who would very much like to stay alive. As such, they must battle from the caboose all the way to the engine. Along the way, the party fights angry spirits and a train robber named Siegfried, teams up with unnamed ghosts who end up being used as cannon fodder, and stop for a seemingly harmless meal in the dining car, 'cause hey, even the dead gotta eat. Reaching the front of the train isn't the end of the journey, however. When Seven and his team try to shut the train down, they learn that the locomotive is alive, and it'd rather put up a fight than stop moving. This leads to one of the most ludicrous and amazing boss fights in Final Fantasy history, culminating, if you play your cards right, with Sabin suplexing a moving train. 4. Fable AI: Lucian. Fable EU's final boss, Lucian, is one bad dude. In order to revive his dead wife and daughter, the aristocrat decides to rebuild the tattered sprite, which will give him the power to destroy and recreate the world as he sees fit. When Lucian decides paying skilled workers is too expensive, he starts kidnapping villagers and forcing them to work as slaves. He kills the player's sister and shoots the player's character too, when she was just a child. He shocks his guards to keep them obedient. Near the end of the game, he tracks down and murders all of the player character's spouses and children, and, in Fable EU, that can be quite a few people, he shoots your damn dog. In short, Fable IB does a really good job of making you want to beat Lucian to a pulp and make him suffer for his misdeeds. You won't get to. During Fable EU's final scene, Lucian embarks on a lengthy monologue. 5. Fallout 3: President John Henry Eden. But there's a catch. After the player's character, known as the Lone Wanderer, winds up in Raven Rock, Eden's home base, he or she learns that the president isn't a person at all, but is instead an artificial intelligence built out of fragments of past presidents' personalities. That's pretty weird, but it does give the Lone Wanderer an easy way to stop Eden's reign of terror. You can choose to help the Enclave further its xenophobic goals by poisoning any wasteland native, of course, but if you choose to fight back, you can beat Eden with a single button press. When Eden leaves you free to take the poison, you can walk up to the console and restart the conversation. At that point, if you have science rating over 60, which is not very high, you can convince Eden that he's a logical fallacy. That sparks a conversation tree in which Eden talks himself into suicide. 6. Punch-Out! Glass Joe. Punch-Out! Has a roster full of strong, tricky fighters. Glass Joe is not one of them. When Punch-Out made its arcade debut, Glass Joe was literally designed to make Nintendo as much money as possible. While later fighters require players to carefully observe patterns and execute strikes with pitch-perfect timing, Glass Joe was just there to give players a quick ego boost and a false sense of promise, encouraging them to pump more quarters into the machine. Defeating Glass Joe is as easy as mashing the punch button. Unless you're incredibly unlucky, you'll beat him in no time. 7. Titan Souls, every boss. In Titan Souls, one-hit kills aren't just a cool bonus, they're the entire fight. If you can't tell from the name, Titan Souls takes a lot of inspiration from both Shadow of Colossus and Dark Souls. Like Shadow of the Colossus, Titan Souls is a series of one-on-one boss fights in which the player must defeat massive foes by finding weak points and exploiting them. Like Dark Souls, Titan Souls combat requires fast reflexes and unforgiving precision. One hit from an enemy, and you're dead. 8. Dark Souls 3, Pontiff Sulyvahn. And yet, there's still something mesmerizing about watching a player walk up to Pontiff Sulyvahn, arguably the most difficult boss in Dark Souls 3, and decimate him with one hit. No second phase, no phantom sidekicks. One strike, and it's over. Oh, and did we mention that the player, who uses the YouTube handle Neptunesequester, pulls off the feat practically naked, with only a pair of trousers and a tiny shield and a giant cleaver to protect himself, and that he made sure he had only a small sliver of health left, making sure there wasn't any room for error, because he did just to rub it in. 9. The Incredible Hulk, the leader. There are many good reasons why you wouldn't want to get in a fistfight with the Hulk, but after spending an entire game sicking villains on the Green Goliath, you'd think the leader would try. At the very least, one would expect the villain to defend himself, or do something other than stand there and look pretty, if, you know, green dudes with giant foreheads are your thing. 10. Metroid Prime 3, the Metroid Hatcher. Most Metroid games follow the same basic structure. Samus starts the game as a power-suited weakling, and by exploring and defeating enemies, slowly accumulates the gear she needs to transform into an unstoppable badass, and to progress to more difficult sections of the game. What do you think of my video? Let me know in the comment section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching my video.